When you graph a number on a number line, it needs to be on the number line, not above it, not below it. And I see a lot of people who do things like draw lines like this. That is a no. Don't do that. If you are to graph, here's problem number 19. It is the set of -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1. I want the dot on the number line. Now, why am I filling in a dot?
Because if it's open, it means not including.
Very good. If you're graphing the number, it needs to be on the number line and it needs to be a closed dot. Because if it's an open circle, that means it goes up to it, but not including it. Okay? Very good. This is called the rectangular coordinate system. It is also called the Cartesian coordinate system. Why do you think they call it rectangular? Because squares are rectangles. Yeah, we made them squares, but squares are rectangles, and that's a system. How do you graph 1, -4? Start at the origin.
Over to 1.
Right 1.
Yes.
Down 4, and put your dots. How do you graph 3, 0?
2, 3. On the line.
Start at 0, 0, go right 3, put a dot. Okay. If you are on these lines, well, first off, what are these lines called? Axes. You've got the x-axis and you've got the y-axis. And if you are on an axis, these are called quadrantal numbers. What quadrant is it in if it's on an axis? It's not a trick question. Where's your cow if it's on the fence?
On 2 of them.
It's on one side.
On both sides.
By the fence.
Okay, if it's a bird on the fence, which side of the pasture is it on?
Neither.
Neither. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like it's just standing by the fence.
Yeah, no, if it's on the fence, not standing by it. So how do you, yeah, that cow's tiptoeing like the bull Ferdinand, you know, tiptoe. Okay, so how do these quadrants go? Do you remember? How do you name those quadrants? 1, 2, counterclockwise. Okay. Now, I had people that were taking this pretest earlier, and they were all kinds of confused because the people that used the calculator had gone through the ACT boot camp, and they had used the quadratic formula. And when you use the program on the quadratic formula and you graph, what happens is it turns off your axis. And so they had to turn the axis back on, but they didn't know how to do that. So when they graphed it, they weren't seeing anything. They weren't seeing any reference to an X and a Y. And that really bothered some of them. Okay. So you have to understand your viewing window. When you have something and you're not sure where it is, the first thing you want to do is push the zoom button on your home. By the way, these are called home keys up here right below. And 6 is a standard. And that takes your window back to a normal window. Your calculators have 2 possible standard windows. Do you know what they are?
No.
When you graph your window, What is the normal set of numbers on either side of your origin? The origin's where the x and the y axis cross. Graph. Anybody?
1 through 7.
How do you know? I pushed a whole bunch of buttons. Push window. When you do window, some of them are a negative 10, 10. Some of them are a 9.2 or a 9.6. Okay. If they're a 9.2 or a 9.6, whatever that 9-point decimal number is, it's because the calculator has squared the pixels. If it's a regular 10, 10, you really cannot look at the graph and assume that it is perpendicular because it is on a rectangle versus a square window. Okay, so normal, negative 10, 10. What is this x scale? I'm going to change that number and I'm going to graph. What changed?
Whoa.
Oh,
How many? Counts by 5s?
How many tick marks? What it's counting by? Yes. So, by the way, there's what I'm graphing, the square root and negative 2, and that's how I figured out that problem 5. So,
I did
there
it
you
a
go.
totally different way than that.
Yeah,
All right.
me too.
So looking at your viewing window, if you're at a negative 10, 10 window and you're counting as a scale of 1, you're counting the x-axis by 1, you're counting the y-axis by 1. If you're counting by 15 or 5, 5, 10, 15, you know how far you're going to. Or if you're counting negative 1 to 15, negative 1 to 15, the scale tells you how many tick marks, what you're counting by. All right. Can you verbally tell me, I am not going to do 66 because that's the one that's assigned to you. I'm going to do problem number 65. How do you type in 5.6 minus 3.1 divided by 8.9 plus 1.3 into your calculator?
Hey, will you get me one?
Anybody? How do you type it in?
5.6.
Start by typing in 5.6, okay, minus 3.1. All right, and then?
Or just do it.
So you want me to type in 5.6 minus
No, you can just do it
3.1?
in your head.
Okay, yes, ideally I would love for you to do it in your head, but the question is, how do you type it into the calculator?
You divide it by
Divided by 8.9 plus 1.3.
Automatically wrong. That's already wrong.
That's already wrong?
You can't, it divides first.
You have to put it in parentheses and then put the thing
Or
in
you
the middle.
just start by putting the fractions back.
Okay, so this old calculator, the TI 83 Plus, doesn't have it to where you can write it as a fraction. Okay, so you have to know. And sometimes people will mess with the calculator and they will turn off math type. And if they turn off math type, you need to know that you've got to have those parentheses. And the parentheses go in order of the operation in which you want to do them. So, oh man, I hate it that I hit clear.
I never did that last year. That always freaked me out.
Divided by open parenthesis 8.9 plus 1.3. And the idea is that you do this math fraction inner. If it can be written as a rational fraction, I needed a rational fraction. Now, the other option, like Sam said was you can do the blue button, y is equal to. Nope, not on this one. I don't have the newest operating system on this one. Calculator number 3. If you have the newest operating system, this one doesn't either. Does anybody have one where it makes it look like a fraction?
What the heck?
Calculator number 4.
Technical difficulty.
But I'm saying-
This one's got it. Perfect.
Sam, we got a
Perfect.
real reason.
Thank you. You're amazing. If you do the green y is equal to button, that is where you change from decimals to fractions, fractions back to decimals. And you can make it to where it looks exactly like you've got it on the paper. Oh, so sorry. Thank you. Okay. The green alpha button, y is equal to. It makes it look like it. And you don't have to put those parentheses in it then.
See, I was confused when you tried to say when you were like blue button first.
So we do number 66 right now.
No, that's going to be on your assignment. I mean, you could do it, but I'm not going to do it.
Wait, whoa, not the